Hey everyone, and welcome to MBA Waves. We are on the air. MBA Waves is your weekly vidcast talking all things MBA, streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And today we have with us EADA Business School in Barcelona, Spain. We're very excited to have you. Welcome, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Thank
you.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
And before
much.
I introduce myself, I'm going to let Bara, my partner in crime with MBA Waves, introduce herself, and we'll get started.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's so good to see our guests. It's so good to see you, Eric. I'm Bara Sapir with City Test Prep and MindFlow, and I just arrived from the National Test Prep Association conference in Atlanta. So it was our second national one. I'm on the board for that, and it was great. And I think I'm jet lagged. It's not clear yet, but I'm jet lagged.
Are you in Atlanta right now?
No, I just got back. Yesterday.
Nice. Okay. And once again, my name is Eric Lucrezia. I am here, as usual, in Paris, France. I am the founder of Candidate Coach and the author of the Getting Into an MBA book series. And like I said, today we have EADA Business School with us. So why don't we go around the room to let our guests introduce themselves, who's joining us today.
Mm-hmm. Javiera, please go ahead. Honor to our students.
Perfect. Well, so I'm Javiera Ortega. I'm from Chile, and I'm doing the International MBA here at EADA in Barcelona. Super happy to just be even finishing the course, but it's been super fun and a super quick year.
Thanks, Javiera. And who's next?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Really nice to be with you today. I'm Melissa, and I actually am looking after careers and talent in EADA Business School. Obviously, my accent, I'm originally from the UK, and I've been with EADA now for 6 years, and extremely grateful for the opportunity to get to know so many talented students and hopefully see them getting placed in some fantastic companies as well. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. And last but not least, Laetitia.
Well, I'm Laetitia. I'm happy to be here. Again, I think it's already my second or third time with you guys, and it's a pleasure. So I'm originally from France, and I'm working for about 10 years already in the EADA Business School in the Department of Admissions. So Melissa was saying about talent. Our role is recruiting talent for the MBA, such as Javiera, actually, that is here with us today. So my pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Laetitia. All right, let's jump right into the questions.
Cool. I have a question for Javiera. I feel like I'm a professional student, and so I've been to like 3 or 4 different grad schools that I've attended. And I want to know from your perspective as a student, what can you tell us about the program? And we'll hear from professional staff afterwards, but I feel like whoever's listening, they're putting themselves in your shoes. So if you could tell them, what are the standout unique features of this particular MBA program, and how was it a transformative experience for you?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's not an easy question, though. But, I mean, if I need to highlight something, I need to tell a story first. So I didn't want to do an MBA, really. That was never my goal, to be honest. Mainly because I tend to think that MBAs were super, traditional. So they just teach you how to do business in a traditional way. And that was not something really appealing for me. But then I learned about the EADA, and what it actually caught my attention and why I applied to it was because of the business with purpose approach. And that could be a marketing, campaign. But it's actually not, because you can see there that when you see the programs and the different topics, and then you actually are doing the program, you can see that the professors, they really resonate with that. They are doing things differently. They are teaching you how to think differently, how to put the ethics, the purpose on top of even the profits or the return of equity, because that's something that you should consider too. So for me, that's something that it's been the main thing for me. It's been something that I wanted to keep doing. I've been surrounded to sustainability for my whole career. And now I think that it kind of makes sense what EADA is doing, because they are not only teaching you the basics concepts that of course need to be there, but also on top of that, they're adding different topics and learning processes, the cultural experience. It's been amazing because you can there learn how to be a leader, but not only leader for others, but also how to lead yourself into the process, how to know yourself, and how can you even improve yourself. For me, that's been transformational in like different aspects that I cannot even tell with words how important it's been for my career. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like they're strengthening you, and you're learning about yourself and the inside. It's an inside job, right? Like you're not only learning about the outside job,
Exactly.
you're doing the inside job too. That's wonderful. That's great.
Did any of the professional staff want to piggyback onto that, or?
No, I always think that that's wonderful, and I think Javiera has described it very well. At the end of the day, there's different pillars, right, that define EADA Business School or the program that we have, and especially the MBA. It's a flagship program, so it has those pillars within. So that would be leadership, as Javi was saying, empowerment, leadership, sustainability, innovation. These are the three pillars of the strategic pillar of the school and of this program. And I think Javi was describing very well how this is the base of this transformation journey, right? That you were explaining. So first of all, it's about knowing yourself, and then about leading others, and etc. etc. So very good.
Sure. And I would say it goes actually beyond the classroom, because obviously, beyond the MBA, this translates into professional career paths. So fortunately now a lot of organizations are becoming more aligned with sustainability and a lot of innovative projects going on. So it ties in nicely. It's not just a during, it's also a post as well.
Absolutely. And before I ask the next question, I just want to remind anyone who's listening live, either on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, that you can ask any questions. We'll be happy to answer them. The EADA team will be happy to answer them for you. So, all right, those of us in the MBA world often talk about finding the right fit, and there are tons of fantastic MBA programs out there, but each of them has their own unique flavor of delivering the nuts and bolts of an MBA. A lot of it comes down to culture. So can one of you or a few of you tell us about the culture at EADA, please?
Mm-hmm. I think, Javi, you can go ahead and tell us from your perspective.
Absolutely. So first, for me, this is a personal understanding. Culture is more than languages. So this actually happened here because we are a diverse group of people, but not only because we are from different countries and we speak different languages, but also because we have a diversity when it comes to backgrounds. Like here we have people that it's been in law school their whole time, different law, even corporate backgrounds. Then we have people like me, engineers, that we are working with innovation, for instance, but also people from PR, different people from design. So it's pretty diverse. And you can see that that's actually a reflection of what Barcelona is too, because Barcelona is a multicultural city, right? That's why it makes it so also happen. People want to come here. People want to live in Barcelona and to live the experience. And EADA is actually a reflection on that too. We just have different backgrounds, different nationalities. We think differently, and that's actually super good because then when you're doing some work, you can discuss from different perspective, and you kind of can understand even why the other people is thinking like that, because maybe the culture and the background. And that for me is super useful, because I think that when it comes to jobs, the real life is actually like that. You're going to work with different people with different backgrounds, and you need to know how to adapt and how to even to have some sort of relationship with them. So for me, culture is everything, and here you can find a lot of culture.
That's super interesting. I'm curious, I don't want to completely put you on the spot, but I'm wondering if you could give us an example of something that you were surprised about in terms of the cultural differences that, it could be a positive experience, it could be a challenging experience, but I'd be curious to hear about that.
Well, for instance, there have been many, but one thing is that people tend to put Latinos, Latin American people, Latinos, in the same package, and we are super different. People don't know that, but we are super different. And here you can tell, because not only we speak Spanish, but it's not the same Spanish, so you need to adapt. And when it comes to do like some sort of like jobs or some roles, then you can see even that there are people that are more formal because maybe the culture, and there are more people that are more easygoing and flowing because of culture too. So for me, it was kind of funny because at some point we were doing something, we were actually doing it in Spanish, like from Colombia, from Peru, from Bolivia, and from Chile, from me. And we were, okay, wait, maybe we can talk in English, because then we're going to actually have the same language, because then we don't need to adapt. We were actually speaking Spanish, but without understanding us each other really fully. So then it was kind of funny. Like, yeah, people tend to just assume that all Latinos are the same, but we are not the same. And here we are in Europe, and we are actually different. But what it's actually been super good is like we are here in English, surrounded with other people with other language, and it's the English language that actually kind of gathered together. Yeah.
Interesting.
Especially in Chile, where that accent can be really tough to understand. I've been down there, and I've lived in Spain.
I know.
It's challenging, yeah.
All I gotta say is the potlucks you guys have must be outrageously good.
Thank you.
I mean, starting with Barcelona's tapas, oh my gosh, that's gotta be delicious.
Whenever you want, Bara.
Oh my gosh. I actually was supposed to be in Barcelona in the summer. I think it was the summer of 2020. I have a ticket still that I have to use. So, you know, I might be out there before when I love Barcelona. It's an amazing city. I mean, we haven't talked about Barcelona. We're not really going to, but what a world-class, incredible, inspiring city to be in, you know, the old and the new. It's just fantastic. Okay, well, let's get to the more of the nuts and bolts about the admissions process. Can you share with us, because our listeners today are going to want to know about applying to the program, what they can expect or suggestions you'd like to offer in terms of being a great, attractive applicant to the program?
Yeah, of course. I think that comes back to a lot of points that Javi was just talking about, right? About the diversity, about the teamwork. She was explaining a situation, a specific situation in the teamwork where she was collaborating with different peers. And that's actually one of the aspects that we want to highlight in the admissions process. Obviously, I can describe an admissions process about the steps, but it's beyond the steps. What are we looking for? A successful candidate, and a candidate that will be able to have the correct development and to perform well in this type of class. And that goes back to the school culture. So we try to see a match between the candidate and the school culture. So first step would be obviously the hard part, the hard skills. So we will obviously, like any admission teams, have a look at your CV, have a look at your resume, and have a look at what has been your experience and what has been the type of level of responsibilities that you've had, and what do you want this MBA to help you to reach, right, in your professional career. Then the second part would be the soft skills. So that would be, how would you match this specific MBA? First of all, we were talking about the three pillars before: innovation, leadership, sustainability. So you have to have an interest, right, in innovation within your own area. Leadership, that means a lot. Leadership, that means a self-reflection at the moment of the application, and we will ask you for that. We will ask you in an interview. That's a bit of a disclosure of the interview question here, but we will ask you about, at this type of at this stage of your career, how would you define yourself as a leader, and how would you want this MBA to help you grow? So we are looking for different type of soft skills. First of all, this is a small boutique school, right? So we're looking for candidates that are looking forward to work in diverse teams. Diversity can be from nationality, can be from backgrounds, from professional backgrounds, that they have this empathy to work with diverse backgrounds, this flexibility to bring to the table their own experiences, but welcome also other point of view. So these are different aspects that we look at the admissions process, and more technically through an application, through a test, an assessment test. We also welcome GMAT, obviously, and through a couple of interviews. One interview will be with a member of the admission teams, myself or my colleague, and the final interview with the amazing program director, Ella Woniuk.
Nice.
Do you accept other tests besides the GMAT?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we offer different options, especially since COVID, right? There's flexibility first. So we do accept GMAT and GRE as a quant, and we have also our own online admission test.
Oh,
so,
neat.
so that helps.
Interesting.
How did you feel
Bara,
about the admission process? Javi, sorry, Erika. Do you remember your admissions?
Of course, I remember. You were the one actually that did my first interview.
Yes. Did I describe well?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was super personalized, and that was a good thing. Because, as you said, it's a boutique school, and you can tell that because I was honestly feeling that you were interested in knowing me and my background, and I program. And I was not just someone that you were talking super randomly and you needed to just fill an hour, So that was super good. And then I had my second interview with Ella. And she was actually like super concerned in terms of how I will fit in there, like how I will contribute to the group, because again, it's something that you need to take in mind when it comes to MBAs, especially because you're going to be constantly working with other people, so you need to be fit there. And like for me, that was something super good because I felt like I was being actually carried out. Like all the time, I was just happy in the interviews, and I was not the candidate.
Mm-hmm. At the end, we always say you as a candidate, you want to make the right choice as well, and we want to see this cultural fit, right? And that's what we try to see during the application process. At the end of the day, it's very small classes, and it's very personalized follow-up throughout the admissions, throughout the MBA as well, and that's somehow how the admissions process feels as well. I hope that's how it feels.
I think it's definitely the kind of experience you have with a school that's more about like personal touch, smaller classes. That makes me think, how many students are in the batch each year usually in the international MBA?
It's about 35 to 40 students in the batch. It's a very small boutique approach.
Yeah. I worked in a similar situation in France before I started the coaching thing. So hold on. I mean, Bara had said we're not going to talk about Barcelona, but I just have to. It's such a fantastic city. I lived there like in 08, 09, and I loved it. I miss it. I want to come back. But I wanted to ask all of you, especially Melissa, maybe because you're also not from Spain originally. Well, neither is Laetitia. Actually, none of you are. Thinking about Barcelona, what do you think about the location, how that plays into EADA's success at delivering such a fantastic MBA program?
It's a great question.
Okay, it's a very great question. I'm also going to give an extremely biased answer because, being from the UK, where it's no, I'm just kidding now. The weather here is amazing, but evidently with EADA has something for me that's really, really special. It has two campuses. It has one campus in the city centre, which obviously lends. I mean, obviously, Barcelona is quite well known. A lot of people have actually been here. There is so much going on in this city. It's an amazing place to live, an amazing place to be. There's never a dull moment at all. There's always something to do. So, the location being really near to the city centre means that a lot of places are actually walkable. So you can really easily get around. There's an amazing, public transport system as well. And on the other hand, EADA has an amazing campus in Plateau, which is in front of Montserrat. So, probably later on we might go more into that when we explain some of the modules in the program. But that lends to a whole setting. So, everyone who comes to join us and who's studying with us actually sees both sides. So you actually also get out of the city. Barcelona itself, definitely since I arrived here, has been subject to a lot of external investment. There's a big startup scene here. It's super innovative. Pharma companies, tech companies, as tech city. It's in terms of and its projection. It's, done amazing things since my days of arriving here in the year 2000. And also, obviously, it's a location because it's so attractive. Training here, airports close by, logistically, it's a really, really easy place to navigate. It's also very interesting for tons of different conferences and congresses going on, which is really interesting. There's all of our students can actually benefit from taking part in some of those. So yeah, I think rather than, in what sense is it a great, in what sense isn't it? It's really hard to find something that's not here.
The challenge is there's too many things to do, and how do you stay focused on your MBA studies when you have so many fantastic things happening?
Yeah, and career path studies as well, actually. Mm-hmm. Career prep, that's another one. It's all kind of fitting in these blocks of time of how to get the most out of the super intense experience. But obviously, Javi here is far better equipped than me to actually explain that. So, yeah. But in a nutshell, Barcelona is amazing. Yeah, great location.
It is amazing. So are interested applicants welcome to visit campus? And is there a formal process with them coming? Is there certain times of the year that you have programs for them to come visit, or can they come when they want? How does that work?
For candidates, I mean, we're obviously welcoming candidates on campus, but we understand at the end of the day that we have about 55 nationalities on campus, right? It's a huge international class, so not everybody has a capacity to come and travel. So our purpose here is to help candidates that cannot make it to visit on campus to have the correct look and feel and feel what would be the experience. So for that, we have different type of format that can match any needs, right? We have from the obviously virtual open days that we have someone from careers, someone from admission, the program director, and alumni joining. So this is organized usually bi-monthly. Then we have the possibility to we always open to one-to-one video calls. We are here on WhatsApp. We can do a video tour if you want as well through our video calls. There's a lot of different possibilities for those who can travel, which is a big majority of the students.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. And do they get to meet other students? Is there anything where they can talk to people like?
Of course.
Javiera? Great.
Of course, it's a must, right? What we ask is obviously the candidate to be already advanced in the application process, just for the sake of mind of our current students, because if not, there will be too many people to be in touch with. And of course, I mean, we know that our candidates are connecting through LinkedIn, and that's wonderful. That technology helps, right? This kind of connection. But from an admissions point of view, once we have already done at least the first screening and the first interview, and we know that you're a good candidate, then and a good match and the right match, then of course we love to do the connection, right, with a current student. That's beautiful, because there's a lot that you can. I mean, it's very hard to understand before you do an MBA. It's a huge adventure, right? An MBA is a huge investment of time, of money. There's a lot of expectation behind an MBA, so we really want to make sure that you find the right match. And if EADA Business School, that you understand that what is EADA Business School all about. So in that case, we will share everything that we can for you to understand if this is the right match for you. And that goes through admission, that goes through talking with a current student, through connecting with alumni, and so on. Open days. So yes, there's different type of format that we offer, and different type of way of communication as well. Some people prefer long emails, others prefer everything done in a video call, others just prefer WhatsApp. We're here in all means, even in live in LinkedIn, right now.
I mean, if you think about what it was like 5 years ago, it was probably radically different, right? I mean, technologies are changing so quickly. In a year or two, there might be, we might teleport, right?
Technology is wonderful for that. Soon enough, we have holograms, visits. Right? Technology is beautiful, and that helps a lot for sure. Shrinking the distances, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Zuckerberg will be launching the Metaverse MBA program. I mean,
Yeah.
from a coach's perspective, like, of course, an MBA is very much about training, it's about education, it's about learning hard and soft skills, but it's so much about the people, right? And in the whole research process, it's so important to connect with current students and alumni, any available professional staff like Melissa from Careers or Laetitia, you're like the front lines, right, in the recruitment and admissions, just to have a real 360 view about the school, about the program, the culture, and to make sure that it really is the right fit. And me doing my little bit of research, I mean, there seems to be a lot of diversity and a really strong international mindset at EADA. Like, for example, I understand, I think the International MBA has like 96% non-Spanish students. Everyone's bilingual. That's amazing. Especially when you compare to a lot of programs in North America, it's usually not the case, right? And so the other thing is that I've seen that you're about 1-to-1 with gender diversity. That's fantastic. So how did EADA achieve such diversity, and how has it impacted the student experience?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in terms of diversity, it's true. This is something that we really love, and that's part of the core of EADA Business School. There's diversity in all of the programs, right? And for us, the network is not only, it's about balancing, right? The networking within the class. I was speaking before about small classroom, and then the network in the community, right? And this diversity in the community that an MBA students is part of when entering the school is very important as well. So how do we reach that? I have to say it's been for a long time that we're very international. So we have a very strong community of alumni, and the majority of our applicants are coming for recommendation of alumni that have been direct friends or family, or in the workplace, right? We have alumni that are now in a director role and that are proposing the MBA or recommending this experience to their surrounding and to the people that they are working with. So that means that if you have an alumni community in a lot of different countries, then the word of mouth works a lot. And then obviously we work on a small classroom, so we are very aware of everybody's playing around in this classroom from its diversity, and we're looking for the diversity at its wholes, right? So in terms of, we're trying to have a classroom where a lot of different industries are represented, a lot of different management areas, obviously continent. So this diversity, we have it in mind when doing the admissions. And then obviously, that Eric, right? We're traveling, we're recruiting abroad, so that also helps making the voice out there. Anyone else? Maybe Javi?
Absolutely, and that's actually. Oh yeah, of course, Javiera, you want to go ahead?
Yes, of course. So, I mean, it might be something from the past, but when you usually tend to talk about business school, you're going to know that you're going to be just one of a few, women there, because it's most like business area, C-levels, high-level managers are most probably going to be men. So it's something that I actually was kind of worried before, not because of EADA, but before, when I was taking like my other master and studying international business, and it was not the case. And then when I start actually looking forward to start the MBA, I was not worried. But then when I came and I saw like that we were almost like 50%, I was like, wow, this is amazing, because we are doing our jobs, like we are getting there. We're actually taking roles that are not maybe that we're not used to actually have roles of a woman there, like C-levels manager, but now it's pretty common. And I think that that's something that we should highlight, because I mean, there are many women there that maybe they don't see themselves in this type of courses, but they need to know that this is something that it doesn't matter the gender, you just are going to belong there. That's, for me, that's super important.
Thank you, Javi, for explaining about that as well, which I forgot, right? The 101, right? The 50% male, 50% female. For us, it is really important. It is really important, and it has been achieved for many years. EADA Business School was founded by a woman in the 50s. So a woman leader in the 50s doing executive education in Barcelona in a male-dominated time. And it's part of the core of the school, right? About this gender balance, this equity in a lot of different aspects. We have very well-renowned teachers that are participating, right, in showing, for example, the salary gap that are still existing. So the research, right, of EADA Business School as well is oriented among many other things around that. So it's about being coherent and having a class that is well balanced, is coherent with our history, with the faculty, is coherent with a lot of values, right? And yeah, and it's great to see a lot of different female talent in the class, and male and female talent obviously in the class and beyond.
That's amazing. What about faculty? Is there what's the breakdown of male to female faculty?
I don't have the breakdown, but as well, we have, I think it's about 50% as well, right? It's very international faculty, and we have very powerful faculty teaching, and the program director is a female as well. So yes, I mean that's part of something that we look at admissions as well.
That's amazing. Well, what about, we've talked a little bit before, and I feel like the underlying piece here that we're talking about, even Javiera was talking about how, that what she was doing was the inside job and the outside job, like what she's learning, the nuts and bolts of business, finding the diversity, also the female-male ratio. And all of these things contribute to leadership and personal and professional growth. So obviously this is important to your business school. And how are you achieving this? I mean, I love that a woman founded your school, essentially, it sounds like, right? Or was part of the founding. And so that obviously seeds the beginning, right? Like you start with something and then you nourish it, and it sounds like it's really grown. But how are you also achieving this year after year? How are these values and being grown?
Mm-hmm. You meaning for the leadership part of the school? Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah. As values and targets for the students, like how are you actually nourishing this growth?
Well, as value target of the student, I think we it's very clear the message and the business with purpose that we have, and the type of student that naturally comes attracted to the school. I think they feel identified with it. It's very strongly explained because we have actually 2 campuses, and it's quite unique, I would say, for a business school to have a campus fully dedicated to coaching and to leadership training. That means that in terms of hours of dedication, in terms of faculty, coaches dedicated to self-development, to leadership development, in terms of facilities, it's really, really, very of its own, and that's a big trademark of EADA. So when you are in an MBA research, and when you go beyond the first, the first information, and then you see that when you're shrinking down your option, if you feel attracted by this leadership development, by this business with purpose, right, the sustainability, the innovation part, then you naturally come attracted by the school. So yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess the follow-up would be that you're talking about an innovative mindset, and you have this coaching portion as well, which I assume also deals with mindset. And I deal with students with mindset when they go in to take standardized tests. So I'm so curious about how do you do that? Like, tell me more about how you're helping with the innovative mindset and helping to sow this with your students. I mean, you've got the city around you too, right? And you've got like everything that Melissa was saying about the whole city is so innovative and new and fresh and inspiring.
Now, of course, I mean, Barcelona is an top 10 innovative city in the world, I believe. I mean, it's the innovation place to be. It's a startup hub. I'm happy to answer, but I would like to hear Javi on it, because you freshly went through the MBA and through all the innovation component of it, and then I'm happy to add, obviously, about the structure, right, of the program.
Yes, of course. But actually, I wanted to link with the thing that you were saying before that, even the Colbato experience, because I think that everything is linked also with innovation. So for me, the approach to have the campus that it's in the city, right, where we are actually being taught in like different topics, but then also to be able to go to this other campus, which is basically put your head, mindset, and body in a different location. That makes you even having be open to different things. And from a leadership perspective and journey, like Colbert experience, it's an amazing immersive experience. They have different modules that actually help you to understand how you think, even to challenge you to take more risk, which is important when it comes to innovation. You need to be able to take risk in order to do innovative things and to think differently, to challenge yourself. And for instance, in my experience in Colbato, I'm afraid of heights, and they have a lot of different activities there, which involves, of course, a lot of heights, but also teamwork. And I was not at the beginning when I saw everything and we were explained, I was like, no way, I'm not going to do all those activities. And then I did it. I did it because I was in a different mindset. I was pushing the boundaries and I was doing it in a collaborative way with my team, which is basically what you need to do with innovation, right? So you start from just putting your head in a different way, which is divergency, right? And the program do that. Like we start the first trimester with innovation, different tools of innovation methodologies like disruptive innovation, um, others like different way of accelerating design thinking. So you're kind of being constantly pushed yourself into the limit of being creative, do different things, take risks, create something different. And then during the course of the program, everything is going to convert into something more structured that is basically the other topics. And even now the specialization, like when I start this master, this MBA, I was like honestly 100% sure that I want to pursue the sustainability path because that's my main area. But then during the program, I was actually realizing that I could do more than that. I already have sustainability as a background, so I could push myself once again. And I took the finance and private equity path, and I'm doing that today. And it's been amazing because honestly, I didn't know that I could do that. And that's the way EADA is actually forming you, like to challenge yourself, just push a little bit further because you know that you can do it. And in order to do that, you need to know yourself. So that's how can you even think that everything every step in the process, it's been designed like that. Like I'm sure that this was not something that random that just happened. I'm sure that people just put their mind, like Laetitia, Ella, everybody here in EADA, and they design things like this so you can actually achieve those kind of challenge.
It sounds a lot like Carol Dweck's work is really embraced there. She does growth mindset, and it's all about saying yes. Like, and in the Bay Area, we talk about things having a growth edge, right? Like, oh, I hit a growth edge, right? When you're talking about your fear of heights, you were just like, I have an opportunity. I've got a team here of doing these different things that seem scary, but it's an opportunity for growth. And I don't have to let go of fear, but I can also be in it, feel it, experience it, trust what's around me, and move forward, which is really, it's life. I mean, I always talk about whether it's the chat or business school, and you yourself, Javiera, it's a metaphor for life. And to be given the opportunity to live life more deeply in all things that you do, incredible. So, kudos. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a life-changing process for sure.
100%. I mean, and all the the growth stuff is fantastic, but you know what? People are looking at the MBA and they want to know what's the ROI, right? And I have Melissa in mind for this question. Right? What's the deal? Like, what about careers? Like, let's face it, everyone who takes the risk to quit their job and spend a small fortune doing an MBA wants to know what that ROI is. So could you please tell us about the career services at EADA. I'm sure, Melissa, you're the best person to ask about this one. And what can graduates expect in terms of employment opportunities for local applicants, but as well as those coming from abroad?
Sure. Before I can actually answer that question, which is a very Financial Times question, right? Return on investment. But it's understandable. It's allowed, yeah, no problem. Before I answer that, I'd just link up to what's been said before, because I actually literally remember my very first conversation in EADA with a gentleman who is actually now our dean, and he was explaining to me, because I came in from another business school in Barcelona, and he was explaining to me the essence of EADA. And he said, look, actually, this is from memory about 6 years ago. It's not his exact words, right? But what I understood from what he was telling me was that EADA is a place where every single person has the chance to grow their own individual full potential, right? Which is a bit what Javi was just actually saying there about Col Bateau and all the leadership experience. So it's not, linking into what we were saying about it being, small groups, individual focus. That's the approach we take in careers. Like, the whole thing is linked, basically. We don't work as a separate block, removed from all of that.
Good.
At all. So what does this mean? We know that Col Bateau is an incredible place for leadership training. I've been up there. We're in faculty. We know what they're actually teaching. So that is, it's, really, really linked to careers coaching, because there's no point having opportunities on campus and lots of opportunities if people don't know their direction and they don't know who they are and why they're going in the direction that they've chosen to go in. Right. So that's actually the base. And purely from a careers perspective, in order to actually train on that, because it is quite different. We work with an amazing gentleman, Lassie Albin, and he's actually a course that individuals, obviously in this case, our MBA students will be following at their pace, obviously a pace that is pushed as well by us. We try to be on top of that, make sure that people are actually following those modules. It's a mixture of group trainings on the essentials of the training that we think everyone needs to have as a basic groundwork for getting started. But most importantly, and linking back to our whole philosophy here, are the one-on-one sessions, which are really individual. It's like working on your own career targets. Evidently, then the part comes in about the opportunities. So because it is a small cohort, we actually group our activities with international master's programs. So when recruiters come on campus, they're looking at those profiles across the board, right? What does that mean? We have a wider range to reach more recruiters. So the typical on-campus career fairs, which are networking, some interviews as well going on campus on those days. Then the students have access to MBA Exchange, which is a job search platform specifically for the MBA market. Probably quite a few people listening to us today will be working with that platform, will know what it is. We send tailored offers actually to the class as well. And we also set up an initiative in lockdown, which is called a company referral round, where we share a list of all the companies we actually are working with and have close contacts. It's a very long list. And we invite our classes to actually apply, let us know about that, and we back them with recruiters. So this is another way of direct opportunities. But again, unless that base groundwork has been done, we've probably taken advantage of. Okay, another thing that actually students also can do, and in fact, a few of our MBAs are already doing this, as Javi will know, are shorter internships during the program to actually work on those company contacts already, and for companies to get to know talent, really. Going back to what we were talking about just now about diversity, we have some local initiatives with big multinationals who are looking to recruit, for example, women in tech. Okay, that's a pretty good one, strong one over here in Barcelona with all the investment in the tech scene over here. But just to give you an example as well, our students who want to go into consulting also have the opportunity to with management consulting firms who specifically come to recruit MBAs as opposed to any other profile. And then in former years, our alumni, we had a gentleman who had a sports background. It might be exactly the typical profile for an MBA. So our team were able to work one-on-one with him and actually find him a role. He wanted to transition into like leadership, but within the same sector. And that was able to happen, probably again because of this individual approach that career advisors really get to know our students. Yeah. Javier here more than anybody going into Spanish there, will be able to play testament to that it really, the work comes from our students first. They know what they want, target the companies, and we support them with all of that. As a statistic here, because figures are always year on year, we have over 90% of our MBA class getting an employment opportunity within 3 months of graduation. Right. In COVID, we were very concerned about that, about the impact, and it went down by about 2%. So yeah, it's just to illustrate that this is year on year. That's the actual percentage place, after 3 months.
Do most of your students in the MBA usually want to stay in Spain, or they want to return home, or is there a third country, elsewhere they have in mind usually? What's the typical? Maybe there's no answer to that, but
yeah, well, it's a very good question, and again, it really depends on the individuals. Of course, Barcelona is a super attractive city,
sure.
And quite a few of our students do stay on. Some of them, go off to other countries. If people coming in have like dual nationality, they take advantage of the other nationality. They may end up in Germany. And evidently we have connections in those countries too. So we'll work with them with companies there who we have connections with. Yeah. For those who want to stay, yes, there are opportunities, of course. Often it can be a deciding factor because Barcelona has amazing things to offer. But for instance, if someone was going into management consulting in Germany, they may consider the salary over the location. So there are other factors coming into play there that people make these choices and move around.
Sure. I mean, relocation is one of the top 3 or 4 reasons for people doing an MBA, right? Changing location along with sector or industry and position, function. Language skills are very important and visas are very important. Those are the 2 of the biggest hurdles, as we all know. But it helps to come from a school like EADA, who has a global reach with alumni all over the place, and leveraging those connections to help people get jobs in those other places.
Sure, and actually, as I mentioned way at the beginning, I've been in Barcelona for a long time. I have to confess, when I turned up here, I went for an interview, which was nothing to do with English, being an English teacher. The question I was asked is, "Oh, so are you an English teacher?" I was like, "No."
I was.
Things have advanced, fortunately, a lot since those times. And what we're finding is with a lot of companies, they're very willing to take talent from different regions. It's really a matter as well of them over time. They've become educated in this. I think it's like all countries in the world, really. They see the importance of getting really good talent that's not necessarily just from Spain. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for answering that. It was a complex question. We're about 50 minutes in almost, so we're gonna wrap it up soon. Bara, want to take the next question, and we'll have one more and wrap it up. I think you're on mute, Bara. Now you're good.
move on my part. So Melissa, you touched upon the alumni network that you have. We sort of talked a little bit about that. And I'm curious about it. You know, I've often heard that a program is as good as its alumni. And, you know, Eric just mentioned that your alumni, they're all over the world right now. But can you give us like a little sense, any of you, what your alumni are doing and what kind of services exist for them at EADA?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can jump in on that one, and then maybe Letty or Javi would like to take over. Essentially, and I'm pretty aware of the time here. So to put it in really, the alumni are very active with EADA. Again, probably because of the close-knit experience they have when they actually are doing the programs, and relationships with faculty, with staff, with each other. That's the bond that really does exist, and it really does continue post-program. So essentially, there are a lot of networking activities that can take place locally, meetups in different to go online, local activities in Barcelona. What happens as well is that a lot of alumni want to come back to the school and actually give back. So in terms of their knowledge, a lot of them are speakers in class. They will connect up, do seminars, conferences. In COVID, that was in webinar form, obviously. And then in terms of I have to say, and probably this is where I can give most insight here, it's a community that's invaluable, really honestly speaking. So many alumni have helped to facilitate into companies abroad with the careers team. Evidently at that point we actually have to get in there and speak to the HR teams and talent acquisition and so forth. But those initial connections are really genuinely made from the heart in order to help people, students of ours who are actually currently in class. And not only in terms of opportunities, but also in terms of kind of mentoring people through an interview process, letting them know what a company culture is like, letting them know what kind of interviews are, what they expect. So it really is a genuine connection there and a genuine will to help. I think, if anything, it's actually, the difficulty here isn't with those connections. The difficulty is how do we reach everyone who wants to help, with the teams. So in terms of the alumni community, I'd say it's very active, solid, gives a lot back to the school. And yeah, that obviously keeps us there going from strength to strength. Maybe in terms of, quickly, the services you were mentioning, recently we had a group of alumni coming back to EADA in person. So after things being online for a while, our first advanced leadership program, which was for alumni coming back maybe 5 years on, more focused on refreshing their leadership skills. Because as we say, we innovate, things move on in cold battle, so we need to refresh as well.
Yes.
And that was a fantastic experience. Led by
yeah. All right, I just want to ask one more question to Laetitia now that she's back. I think a couple of us have been having some Wi-Fi issues, but Laetitia, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Sorry, I ran out of battery.
Okay.
Plug it back in.
No worries. So last question for the group, and starting with you. What's in store for EADA in the future? Any new projects, initiatives? What's exciting coming up to look out for?
Well, there's always a lot of exciting things happening. For example, last year we launched a fintech program. This year we're launching a global BBA program with our partner in Schema in France. 3 years ago, it was a lead tech global executive MBA with École des Ponts in Paris, École Business School. So there's always new programs, especially in the field, right? Always in innovation and technologies, which is part of the core, right, of the business school. Any other news without disclosing, right? A lot of different projects, but any other news? Well, this week we were again in the positive impact rating. We spoke, and I'm sure a lot of people know a lot about rankings. But positive impact rating is actually by the World Economic Forum in Davos, and the first one was in 2020, February 2020, very tricky date, and it was about recognizing the schools that have that were for the world, so business schools that had a positive impact for the world and not in the world. So recognizing this positive footprint, and back then there were only 9 schools, that had this level of transformative schools. And we were very proud to be part of those. Thankfully, right now it's growing and growing, and there are more schools that are recognized, and obviously we're still here as pioneers. So it was back again this week. What else can I say? Very exciting project, Barcelona plus B. So the city of Barcelona is working a lot with different type of companies to have to work into social and environmental balance and positive footprint once again. And this is totally in partnership with obviously key players, key companies here in Barcelona, the city of Barcelona, and this is taking place in EADA as a partner in EADA Business School. So this is a very exciting project for the city of Barcelona. So yeah, a lot of things, a lot of news. I'm sure following us in LinkedIn helps knowing all those news that are going on campus, because many things to say, and I kind of lose track here.
There is indeed a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just last thing, if for those who are listening who are interested in learning more, are there any upcoming open houses, or what's the best thing they should do next? Maybe you want to drop your email or the admissions email, if it's a generic email, into the chat so I can share it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Hold on a second. It's very easy. If you don't remember, obviously I will be the contact person here, and my email is my family name plus my first name, Laetitia Rella, but the easiest for everyone is admissions@eada.edu. And it's actually my colleague Marta, which is doing a wonderful job with assessing and interviewing the candidates. So she will be in touch with you or myself. So it's very easy, admissions@eada.edu. Open houses, at the moment we do not, because we're running through the last step of the cycle, right? Admissions are still open, but the last open house was last month, and right now what we're focusing more is on the one-to-one. So one of these initiatives that we've come through is going back right to this one-to-one relationship and assessment and understanding 360 every candidate's needs. A lot of our candidates were, back to what we were saying, asking to be connected with students and alumni. So this is something that we're doing now more than open house. Will be either a one-to-one call to understand you better and fast forward the application process that way, or connect you with a current student if you want to. So that's what we're doing over the summer rather than the typical open day. And then open day will be back on from October.
Fantastic. Thank you for all that information. Thank you, everyone, for all this information. It's really fantastic to get to know EADA Business School a little bit better in one of my favorite cities in the world, Barcelona, Spain. So nice to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation. And very many thanks to Javi that was here with us, and Melissa, and obviously Bara and Eric too. Nice to see you here. Thank you so much for having us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
Thank you. Great to meet you both.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget to join us next week at MBA Waves. We're streaming live every single Tuesday. You get the full programming schedule at mbawaves.com, as well as watch any past episodes on the past episodes tab. This was our 55th episode, so Bara, we're killing it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you around.
It's incredible. Great job.
It is. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.